Martha was the first lady of them all. She set the tone, she made her mark, drove Georgie up a wall. From Martha up to Michelle, each first lady had her say. But all they asked poor Mary Todd was how she liked that play. Yet I know one first gal who stands above the rest. Her role as Mrs. President can pass my stringent test. Mrs. Millard Fillmore, from 1798 to 1853, just a regular gal like you or me. Abigail, sweet Abigail, Millard's blushing bride, stayed out in the freezing cold, caught a chill and died. There's Martha and Abigail, Dolly, Elizabeth, then there's Louisa and Rachel and Hannah and Anna, Letitia and Julia and Sarah and Margaret and Abigail Powers Fillmore. There's Jane and there's Harriet, Mary, Eliza and Julia, Lucy, Lucretia and Ellen and Frances and Caroline, Ida and Edith and Nellie, Ellen the second and Edith the second and Florence and Grace and Lou and Eleanor, Bess and Mamie and Jackie and Ladybird, Pat and Betty and Rosalind, Nancy and Barbara and Hillary and Laura and Michelle. Don't forget Abigail Powers Fillmore, Mrs. Millard Fillmore. Jackie had her pillbox and the stature of a model. Pat had good old Tricky Dick, and Betty had her bottle. Nancy had astrology, and Barbara had her pearls. And Hillary, oh, Hillary, hasn't she had enough girls? Mrs. Millard Fillmore, from 1798 to 1853, just a regular gal like you or me. Abigail, sweet Abigail, unknown and unsung, standing by her man while hacking up a lung. There's Martha and Abigail, Dolly, Elizabeth, then there's Louisa and Rachel and Hannah and Anna, Letitia and Julia and Sarah and Margaret and Abigail Powers Fillmore. There's Jane and there's Harriet, Mary, Eliza and Julia, Lucy, Lucretia and Ellen and Frances and Caroline, Ida and Edith and Nellie, Ellen the second and Edith the second and Florence and Grace and Lou and Eleanor, Bess and Mamie and Jackie and Ladybird, Pat and Betty and Rosalind, Nancy and Barbara and Hillary and Laura and Michelle. But don't forget Abigail Powers Fillmore, Mrs. Millard Fillmore. On account that chorus was so relaxing, let's do it again. Now listen, if you know it, just sing along. There's Martha and Abigail, Dolly, Elizabeth, and there's Rachel and Hannah, Anna, Letitia and Julie and Sarah and Margaret and Abigail Powers Fillmore. There's Jane and the Harriet, Mary, Eliza and Julie, Lucy, Lucretia and Ellen, Frances, Caroline, Ida and Edith and Nellie, Ellen the second and Edith the second and Florence, Grace, Lou and Eleanor, Bess and Mamie and Jackie and Ladybird, Pat and Betty and Rosalind, Nancy and Barbara and Hillary and Laura and Michelle. Don't forget Abigail Powers Fillmore, Mrs. Millard Fillmore, Mrs. Millard. One more time! Abigail Powers Fillmore, Mrs. Millard Fillmore, Mrs. Millard Fillmore.